Zhang Yi thought to himself, this feeling is great, and decided to enjoy it more. All the shots were precise, aiming at the head and the clock. With 7 capsules on the ground, there were 7 bodies in the snow. With this, he was sure he had sent a message to all the neighbors of the buildings. Zhang Yi, leader of Building 25, has a rifle, and there's no way to confront him. Now they must follow his orders. The next day, Jo Kier brought food, saying she was practicing her cooking. Additionally, she asked about the noise on the balcony last night. Without hiding anything, Zhang Yi said he shot and killed 7 people. The woman's reaction was simply to say that Zhang Yi is amazing. Zhang Yi even asked if she wasn't curious why he used an AWP to do it. Jo Kier said it's none of her business, and it doesn't matter what he did. She's with him, and it's better than dying outside. In other words, she doesn't care what he does to others outside. Zhang Yi even praised her, saying she's smart and doesn't have unnecessary curiosities, and he likes that. Meanwhile, on the other side, residents of Building 26 looked at the bodies in the snow. One of them is related to the boss, worried because they didn't get any food and now lack men to carry out their plans. Tianfang got irritated and ordered to bring the bodies of David, his relative, and the others to have more food. Meanwhile, Zhang Yi decided to go out for another round. Everyone respects him now, and of course, they're very scared. With headphones on and Uncle Yu on the line, Zhang Yi is now sure the building is safe. Meanwhile, the leader of Building 26 could only stew in bitterness. If he could get that motorcycle, he could go out to get cigarettes and food. Those who went before to look for the motorcycle didn't find it in the parking lot and were shot. Zhang Yi rode the motorcycle until he reached where he wanted to go, the district of machines and imported cars. The warehouses were so large that they hadn't been covered by snow yet. Breaking the roof, he descended with a rope and put everything in his infinite loot storage warehouse. Now these luxury cars have no value, but at some point, they might. The next step was to go to a gas station. He needs it for his generators and machines, including his snowmobile. Unfortunately, for him, the station was completely buried in snow. It was impossible to dig 10 meters. Frustrated that his plans didn't work out for the first time, he threw himself into the snow and thought about how good it would be to have gasoline for all his stored machines. It was thinking about that he remembered he also had a giant excavator stored. With the little fuel he has, he can dig and dig in the snow. It didn't take long until he managed to clear a path to the gas station. Inside the place are the warehouse tanks of the station. Luckily, the fuel isn't frozen. All he needed to do was seal the tanks and store them intact in his loot storage space. For a moment, he realizes that with this and his excavator, he can dig and retrieve everything buried, and no one will be able to stop him. Meanwhile, in the building, a neighbor's child had a high fever. Jo Kier went to attend to the child, but couldn't do much because Zhang Yi always keeps the medicines. Uncle Yu brought leftover medicine from his girlfriend Zila Mei's son. He comforted the mother that everything will be fine. The child's fever decreased. However, Jo Kier reminded the mother to keep an eye on his condition. They had barely stepped away when they heard a scream. Aunt Lin attacked the baby, and in the impulse to protect her son, the mother intervened and got shot. Jo Kier managed to grab the baby for a few seconds. Aunt Lin went crazy, saying that because they didn't help her grandson, he didn't survive, so no one has the right to have children here anymore. The lovely Jo Kier, determined to save the child, ran with him through the stairs. Aunt Lin managed to grab the doctor's leg. Like the mother, she protected the child with her body. Aunt Lin was determined to kill everything in her path. Uncle Yu kicked Aunt Lin and threw her down the stairs. He arrived just in time to save the boss's wife. He wouldn't forgive himself for failing to keep everything safe in his absence. Aunt Lin was furious with all of them. Uncle Yu made it clear that Zhang Yi eliminated Chen Zheng, and that's why everyone is safe. Additionally, Jo Kier recounted that after Chen Zheng was gone, she begged Zhang Yi to give medicine to her grandson. However, when she went to deliver it, she found out that Aunt Lin herself had killed her grandson to eat him, leaving the old woman screaming in denial. The men who came with Uncle Yu said that she must pay for her evil deeds, and they can help. According to them, fat burns well, and it's been a long time since they had a good bonfire. Returning to Zhang Yi, outside the house, he slept in a tent at the gas station, and now he's going out for more exploration. With his excavator, he went to the city's military post, and by digging, he gained access to the military base. However, all the military supplies were taken. All he thought was that the military leaders, with all the equipment, are the ones who will try to take power from the surviving society. If that's the case, he should arm himself to protect himself even from these people. While digging for something else, he broke a wall of the camp. To our surprise, not everything was taken by the army. An absurd amount of weapons and ammunition in this place went straight to his loot storage. After so long away, he returned home on his snowmobile, and this time without bringing back food. The neighbors noticed he was without food and immediately started complaining. Zhang Yi countered that even for a whole day this time, he couldn't find anything. But if they want, they can go back to having to go outside to find their food and not follow him anymore, and he calls them ungrateful. Zhang Yi realized that by not bringing back food for one day, they felt unfairly treated because his work of defending the building wasn't being paid off. Even though he said the discussion was over, some of the residents approached, suggesting that he could take some of them next time to search, and that way, he could rest more. Not only Zhang Yi, but we didn't even notice this strange guy with a hand hidden behind his back. Zhang Yi made a hand gesture, and the next moment, the rebel took a hit to the head and fell to the ground. The others who were with him apologized, but Zhang Yi made it clear that there is no forgiveness. He shot everyone, and at least 4 of them went to sleep. The rest fled through the window. The noise caught the attention of Uncle Yu and Zhou Qir, who ran there worriedly. He simply said that they were traitors, and he responded with mercy. Uncle Yu simply said they were so comfortable they forgot their place. Zhang Yi then went home, as if what happened now didn't matter at all. Zhe Li Mei stayed there, thinking that this mercy he mentioned is just to warn others. With no one questioning what happened, they go home while Zhang Yi thinks his cannon fodder is running out. In the comfortable home, Zhang Yi asked Zhou Qir if anything had happened while he was away. She recounted that Aunt Lin had gone crazy due to her grandson's death and attacked a mother, but that was already resolved. Additionally, someone from another building called Chen Lingyu wanted to discuss something with Zhang Yi, but she didn't say the specific details, just that she wanted to cooperate with him. Not knowing what this person could offer, Zhang Yi didn't care. He has everything he needs, and those people outside can only wait to die of cold and hunger. Curious if he was just going to ignore the woman's request, he asked for his information, and what Zhou Qir knows about this person is that Chen Lingyu owned a cosmetics company and now completely controls Building 9. The only surprise to Zhang Yi for this is how a woman had the power to take control of an entire building. Out of curiosity, Zhou Qir says he should talk to this woman, so he already had messages from her and the leader of another building on his phone. He went straight to Chenling to ask what she wanted. She wanted to speak by voice, and Zhang Yi immediately said he didn't have the patience to speak. It will be by text. On the other end of the line, Chenling only thought that this person who took down Building 26 has a snowmobile and a rifle is tough. She says they heard about him and know he has a snowmobile. He asks what they have to offer. Basically, there's 76 workers who can use his snowmobile to search for food too. In summary, she wants the snowmobile and for him to provide food for them beforehand, so they have the strength to search more with his snowmobile, and he should know that soon all the people in the neighborhood could turn against him, so it's smart to have allies. Discontented now, he asked what happens if he refuses. He had never seen beggars ask for food with threats. Chen Ling was calm and made it clear that currently, Zhang Yi is a target for all the neighboring buildings. It's only a matter of time before everyone unites to attack them all together if he doesn't cooperate. In this situation, he asked for time to think about it, hanging up the phone as he looked at the other buildings. He knew his home was impenetrable, but if everyone united, they could bring down his building in an extreme situation. While he was thinking of a way out, another person was calling him on the phone now. This time it was Li Jian, who also asked to cooperate. His building 18 had been pacified, and everyone cooperated with each other, distributing resources among themselves, and his focus is on maintaining people's humanity. He is willing to help building 25 to enter into conflict with the others, and any service he has, in exchange for just a few supplies. Zhang Yi asked Zhou Qir what things are like in building 18. Her information is that she indicated that Li Jian unified all the residents of the building after the apocalypse, but his resources for so many people wouldn't last long. He replied that he needed to think too. Soon he saw that several other people had messaged him. Zhang Yi went to Zhou Qir to show that he might have to kill them all. At this moment, the doctor's mind was that she made the right choice in joining Zhang Yi. This time he asked his girlfriend for advice, but the strange thing is that at the same time, he put the Jubilee on the line and asked what was better, to cooperate or to destroy them all. Then she couldn't even answer properly because she couldn't concentrate. You know what I mean. Sometime later, he asked her to cut a bulletproof vest for him to put on his legs. His plan now was as follows. In the group of residents of his building, he told them that the neighbors threatened him to hand over the snowmobile, or they will attack the building. If he does that, everyone in the building will have to go look for their own food from now on. Soon, everyone turned against and ready to follow Zhang Yi to go against the other buildings. It didn't take long for Zhang Yi to be placed in a new group with only the leaders of the neighboring buildings. There, they made it clear that if Zhang Yi refuses to follow all the terms, they will become public enemies of all the buildings. They made all the demands, letting everything happen as they wanted. He had the brilliant idea, decided to cooperate, and set up a meeting with all the leaders. His idea was to eliminate all the leaders. The rest of the residents, without leaders, won't be able to organize against him. With a meeting place set, he went down, arranged with his followers from the building, and to encourage everyone, he gave them quality food, saying they need to be strong and energized to defend their home. One of them asked if they could hope for peace. Zhang Yi says not only that, but if everything goes well, there won't be any more food problems for anyone here. Motivated, everyone is now idolizing their savior and willing to do anything for him. Exiting through the tunnel and not through the windows, Zhang Yi and all the residents went to the designated place. Even from afar, he noticed something strange. There were so many people here, so he ordered Uncle Yu and the rest of the residents to come too, and he will stay behind hidden with his rifle. At the negotiation field, Uncle Yu and the residents stood in front of all the leaders of the neighboring buildings and their groups. One of ours said they didn't seem to want to negotiate. The other completes saying, they seem more like they want to destroy them. With so many of them attacking each other, they wouldn't stand a chance. However, Uncle Yu stated that their goal is to make Zhang Yi cooperate. Attacking us wouldn't help with that. The building owners of 26, 5, 21, 9, and 18 were confident Zhang Yi might be intimidating, but against so many people, he doesn't have the power to face them all. One of them says he doesn't see Zhang Yi, so he must be scared after seeing our numbers. The situation is totally in their favor. Tianfeng shouts for him to show up soon for negotiation. Uncle Yu warns that the leader will only meet with the leaders, so they they should come this way. Chenling and the others disagree, and ask if they aren't afraid of death. Realizing how things were going, Zhang Yi called Uncle Yu, warning them to stay away from the other groups. Uncle Yu, clever as always, told them to wait a moment and had his group retreat. With this distance, Zhang Yi whistled to get everyone's attention. In the open field, nobody knew exactly where Zhang Yi was, nor where the grenade he threw into the midst of the other building groups came from. Behind the leaders, a massive explosion occurred, resulting in a hole where everyone nearby was obliterated. Uncle Yu put the phone on speaker behind the leaders and asked if they had any questions for him. Wang Cheng, in shock, asked why so much violence. Zhang Yi questioned over the phone why more than 1,000 people for a negotiation. Already heading back into his building, he said there were 5 minutes left until the appointed time. If they didn't agree to come talk to him at building 25, it was over. Chenling spoke for everyone that they would accept it. Already in one of the apartments, Zhang Yi was content. With just one blast, more than 20 people were gone. This will convince him, and now he only has 20 of them left. Sometime later, all the leaders rushed up the stairs of the building to reach the designated place. As there are no elevators, they are all tired. He only asked if everyone was there, confirming that they were. The meeting began. The residents in the room calmly laid out their conditions as before, of how he should cooperate. Unsatisfied with this, he drew his Glock and placed it on the table. Instantly, everyone was shocked, so Zhang Yi said it was just bothering him on his waist. Continue. None of them wanted to ignore this, and said that if they flip, the others will join forces against him. Thus Zhang Yi took the lead in the discussion. First point, he doesn't agree with their demands. Providing food for so many people is impossible for him. The most he can give is 10 meals per day for each building. How they use them is up to them. Chenling was indignant. This is too little. Only in her building, there are 76 people. Zhang Yi then made it clear. It's either this or war. With no way out, Tianfang took the lead, saying that Chenling doesn't represent everyone. They want to accept, but it won't convince everyone to cooperate if they're left without food. Zhang Yi cocked his Glock, asking if this is really too little for them. Li Jiam, the most peaceful of all, took the lead, saying he wants to talk. It's always better than a shot to the head. At this point, Zhang Yi put his foot on the table, saying that food isn't infinite. Even if they search, they'll eventually run out. He pulled a bunch of seeds out of his pocket and threw them on the table. His point is, they should start planting food to be able to make their own food. Tianfang quickly questioned, what sense does it make to try to plant in the ice? Using his Glock, he pointed out, there's land under the snow, water won't be lacking. His condition is that all buildings must put their men to dig and plant every day, and in return he will give 10 meals to each building. Moreover, he can provide medicines, drinks, and cigarettes. Upon hearing cigarettes, the two smokers forgot everything and said they accept everything if they can take a drag. Zhang Yi took out a closed wallet from his magic pocket and gave it to them to try. While they smoke, he stands aside, asking if they agree. Every day they can get a box of cigarettes. Li Jiam wanted to say something, but the smokers stepped in front and said they accept everything he said. They just need to be able to smoke every day. The rest of the three leaders are yet to respond, intimidated by the person with the Glock in hand and who has already convinced two of the leaders. One of the leaders pressured the others to accept. The two are already on his side and now want to please him, as much as the others want to discuss better. The two don't give an opening. Meanwhile, Zhang Yi goes to the window and notices that the residents of the buildings are starting to move. His reaction then is to move his Glock to the leaders and ask, what's this? Wang Qian, who was already bought, affirmed that all the leaders are here. There's no reason for anyone to attack them. Li Jian then says that if they are attacking, it's on their own accord. Zhang Yi shouts for the others to come in. Everyone here in the room is trapped here. Meanwhile, Zhang Yi takes out his rifle, and somehow no one saw his magic happen. With his scope, he identifies who's leading the others into rebellion. With a perfect shot, the leaders were knocked out, one after the other. Zhang Yi knocked down everyone who was taking the lead. The leaders sitting in the room were terrified to hear what was happening. A few minutes later, and Zhang Yi was calm, saying the situation was resolved. Asking if everyone is okay with the negotiation, soon the two smokers said yes. The rest who didn't want to accept were forced to accept. The last was the honest Li Jin. Now that everyone agrees, tomorrow afternoon, they will start. Leaving the room, he patted Li Qian's things and asked him to do a good job. Meanwhile, he will keep an eye on them. Leaving the building, all the leaders seemed nervous, so the residents were curious about what happened. Zhang Yi tells them how he controlled the situation, but had to make a deal to provide about 300 meals for them every day. Not content with this, because why should he give so much food? Zhang Yi uses this. According to him, if it weren't for this, they should fight against over 1,000 neighboring motors, which would certainly lead to many deaths here, and he could not accept that, so he resigned to so much food for their well-being. Now all the residents of Building 25 cried with so much emotion. Zhang Yi is the only one who could lead and take care of everyone so well. Everyone left. Only Uncle Yu stayed there. The old man, embarrassed, says that things didn't happen as he imagined they would. Zhang Yi took Uncle to a more private place, and there told the truth. The plan was to eliminate the leaders of all the apartments at once, but only the 5 most influential leaders were sent, so the plan was postponed. If the 5 leaders had been knocked out, the others would take their place and be more motivated to destroy Building 25. Uncle Yu now, yes, understood why there wasn't so much destruction. Now it's because there will be later. He understood and was impressed at how his nephew is so good at calculating things. Now it's a matter of time. The other residents will weaken as the days go by working. 300 meals alone will make them destroy themselves from within, not fight for the little food they will receive. Zhang Yi made it clear to Uncle not to tell anyone about this. Returning to his luxury home, his wife was doing yoga. What a difficult life they have. After so much work. Jokir wanted to know how the negotiations went. His response was that in the next few days, all he has to do is this. He threw her on the bed and said she shouldn't leave the house for the next few days. Be prepared. After a hot night, the next day it was very cold outside, but still everyone was put to digging as promised. Their mission is to reach the ground 10 meters below the snow, to plant. He just passed by to make sure everything was being done, then went far away to get his snowmobile. The other two leaders said they searched and couldn't find his snowmobile anywhere. Where could he hide it? Zhang Yi's goal today was to find a veterinary clinic. There he knew he could find the poison they use to euthanize animals that are beyond saving, he said. With this amount he has here, he could knock out 300 people since they won't be able to find treatment. He knows that when the time is right, he will use it. Returning home, he made sure to gather plenty of supplies for his building beforehand. Everyone was impressed at how much he got this time. With a phone call, he notified the other buildings to come pick up their share of the deal. The leaders sent 3 people from each building for this, perhaps out of fear of being ambushed. Little by little, the 30 neighboring buildings picked up their first day of meals, and everyone was happy to start seeing food. As he left, he heard the workers saying they were tired from today's hard work, but it was worth it. So without a plan, things are going well. Returning to his comfortable home, his abode was always tidy, and he had everything he needed there, even a hot shower every day. Meanwhile, in the other buildings, Wang Qian saw his subordinate arrive, and the first thing he checked was if there were cigarettes. Everyone behind him quickly expressed that they were suffocating and would die if they didn't get a smoke. Soon, everyone was relaxed, and only then did they think about food. He allowed everyone to start eating, but he didn't calm down until he was sure the food wasn't poisoned. His group was confident they had food, but the other workers in the building were waiting for their share, which never came. That night, the protagonist left his bath peacefully and heard the neighborhood arguments over food distribution while he and his wife were stuffing themselves. The next day, everyone was digging, and as the protagonist prepared for his daily round, he left a warning to be cautious due to the food shortages, causing disputes. After that, he went out on his snowmobile to find more food. After a few hours, he returned with even less food. Zhang Yi told everyone that the search for supplies outside was unpredictable and that they should be content with what they had. His plan was to further accelerate internal conflicts. That same day, the buildings reached the point of throwing residents out to have fewer mouths to feed. While many were falling into chaos, he was cozy at home, listening to music and preparing his equipment. The next day he saw the result. Dozens of people thrown out, with the buildings bearing the marks of the disputes. Some asked if they had to dig today too. Zhang Yi coldly walked among the bodies, saying that if they didn't want to end up like those people, then yes. Soon, everyone rushed to dig in the snow, which Zhang Yi observed. But Uncle Yu noted that few people had come to work today. Of course, sir. Look how many people are down. Only Zhang Yi's team was here today, but tomorrow that would change. It was a message to all the neighborhood residents. Those who didn't work wouldn't get food or cigarettes. The next day, the number of people working was almost normal. Uncle Yu questioned why so many people had returned to work when they knew there wouldn't be enough food for everyone. Zhang Yi implied that they were here to get food anyway, and the bodies from the previous day were slowly disappearing. As he was leaving, Chen Ling approached him to talk. She was dirty and worried, wanting to discuss the current chaos. If things continued like this, with so little food, the residents would end up killing each other. She suggested that the two of them could think of a scientific way to solve the food problem for everyone. They could even consider expanding their territory. If they joined forces, they could create a kingdom in this end of the world. Zhang Yi's look turned malicious. He accused her of trying to deceive people to gain power, and said that because of how she operated, many in her building were dead. Her previous negotiation tactics wouldn't work with him. Zhang Yi pushed her away, saying that people like her die early and that she shouldn't count on him for anything. All that was left for her was to beg him to change his mind and make her his right-hand person. Strangely, despite everything, there were no casualties in Li Jian's building. Everyone was alive and working. Curious about how this was possible, Zhang Yi went to Li Jian to ask how he managed to keep everyone alive and cooperating. The protagonist was insinuating that he was doing something to hide the truth. All the blocks were internally at war over food. Li Jian's response was simple. He said he hadn't hidden anything from his people, let them all know about the deal, and distributed the little food they received equally. Zhang Yi joked that the result of this was everyone starving equally, satisfied with knowing. He was about to leave, but Li Jian asked him to wait. He said that Zhang Yi could help his residents. Zhang Yi then suggested that with Li Jian's leadership skills, he could choose only the strongest from his group and have more food. Instead, Li Jian preferred to maintain his honesty and try to protect everyone. In the end, they would all starve together. He left poor Li Jian alone with doubts about whether it was right to think of oneself and abandon others to stay alive. Zhang Yi went to the two corrupt leaders who had no complaints about the food they were receiving. He told them that if they needed anything, they could ask him. In his shadow, one could see who our protagonist truly was. He sympathized with those taking advantage of others and belittled those trying to help everyone and be honest. Other building leaders approached the protagonist later, asking to have the benefits that Wang Qian and Tianfang had, only cigarettes. Everyone who was doing well with the little food that was coming wanted to have something to smoke too. He said that from tomorrow, everyone would be under his care too, and dismissed the men. Other neighbors questioned Zhang Yi, asking why they felt entitled to ask for more things. The protagonist left, saying that certain people could earn more than others, planting a sense of jealousy among the other residents too. Returning home, he lay on his sofa and said it was just a matter of time. Things were going as he had planned, and soon everyone would be lying in the snow like the others. Now he had to put the second part of his plan into action. Early Early the next day, he went in search of food. This time, he made sure to get plenty for everyone. With hunger spreading, he used the poison he had saved beforehand. The plan was going very well. Would the leaders not turn against him at some point? They shouldn't accept being dominated by one person. They must be plotting something. Although his absolute power of possessing various weapons made it impossible for them to go against him, Zhang Yi decided it was time to strike. Returning home with much more food than before, he asked his Uncle Yu and the others to be there to protect him. This time, the leaders came to get their meals. The look of the leaders with whom he had more contact seemed strange. When it was the turn of Building 21, Zhang Yi turned his back to get the food and was surprised. They shouted to attack and drew their weapons. Shots rang out, and someone stepped forward to protect Zhang Yi. Caught off guard, it was the only person he trusted who stepped in front to save him from the shots. Soon, neighbors from other buildings approached to finish the job, confident that he was unarmed. One of them tried to hit him from behind. Not bothering to hide his skills, he simply pulled out a CS machine gun and started firing indiscriminately. No matter the absurd number of people, nothing could resist a nervous trigger finger. The group of traitors tried to run when they lost hope of toppling the protagonist, but even though many were running, they were all toppled with shots to the head. When the ammunition ran out, he pulled out 2 more pistols. Leaders Wang and Tianfeng begged, saying they were not accomplices. However, forgiveness comes from God. The last one left was Chen Ling, and she said she really had nothing to do with it. And it might be true. She also revealed that she had a 13-year-old daughter to take care of. Without mercy, Zhang Yi shot her in the forehead. After taking down everyone, now perhaps with some real guilt, he said he was sorry, but he couldn't let the tigers return alive. Behind him, a sea of bodies. To the protagonist's surprise, someone was alive. Uncle Yu. He took an adrenaline injection from the warehouse, applying it to his chest. 2 people from Building 25 were hiding. He shouted for them to help, and they carried Uncle Yu to Zokir. On the way, Zilime saw her injured boyfriend and became worried. Why was he like this? What if he dies? How will she survive? The fact that the woman was only thinking about how she would lose her benefits made the protagonist angry, so much so that he told her to shut up and not worry. The woman's reaction changed. If old Yu doesn't survive, she won't be able to survive alone without protection. She says that if her love dies, he must take care of their child, because she will die too. Zhang Yi, not quite understanding why she was already jumping to conclusions that he won't survive. Does she perhaps want him not to survive? Zilime starts crying, screaming that no, her husband must live. Tired of hearing her, Zhang Yi goes after Uncle. In the woman's mind, Uncle Yu is her winning ticket to a good life, and she can't let him slip away. At the doorstep, he tells them all to go back to their homes, but the woman insists that her husband needs her by his side at this moment. Out of consideration for Uncle, who genuinely likes the woman, he thinks about it and lets her stay. As he opens the door to his house, the color of things even changes. The air is warm, and Zilime cries tears of joy. This is the place she has been dreaming of living in for so long. While Zhang Yi and Zokir bring Uncle inside, Zilime goes to the kitchen and helps herself to something to drink without asking permission, which surprises our couple. Soon the woman returns, all happy, asking if he has powdered milk, immediately arousing anger in Zhang Yi. She then says it's for the baby. Uncle Yu really likes the baby. The protagonist now makes it clear that the focus is on Uncle Yu. He goes to a different room in the house and retrieves a hospital stretcher from the dimensional warehouse. Zilime wonders if she just witnessed him perform a magic trick, but he ignores her, asking Zokir if she needs any additional equipment or medicines, anything necessary to save Uncle. Zokir removes Uncle's shirt. The bullet's location indicates internal organ damage. In these medical conditions, saving Uncle seems impossible. Upon hearing Zilime, he starts screaming and crying. Angry, he points at her, warning that if she interferes again, there will be serious consequences. She stops and says it's better for her to leave the room. In her mind, there's so much food and clean, warm water here. Who would want to stay in this room just looking around? Realizing her intention, the protagonist steps in and makes it clear. She will stay here and help. She only entered because her presence is important to Uncle. She will only leave this room when Zokir is finished. He leaves the women at home and rushes down to the first floor of the building, calling all the residents. They've been betrayed, and Uncle Yu might not survive. Now they must strike. Most neighbors are against it. The other buildings house over 1,000 people, and they are few. Zhang Yi points out that they should only watch outside. Anyone leaving the buildings will be attacked, and the rest inside, hiding within the buildings, he will take care of. Those who do not participate will be considered traitors, facing consequences similar to the dead bodies outside. There are warm clothes here for them. Soon the group arrives at the door of Building 21. Residents on the upper floors realize that Zhang Yi is leading their residents. Some who knew Zhang Yi could wield weapons could only stand paralyzed with fear. Most only had melee weapons, and he could magically produce a machine gun and mow them all down. The brave ones are confident that they are safe in the building. Zhang Yi puts everyone to watch the exits and windows, and he enters Building 21. Arriving in the lobby, he gathers a bunch of wood and clothes from his storage dimension, places them in the lobby, and then pours gasoline over everything, connecting all the wood and clothes with trails of gasoline. He then lights his lighter and, being all witty, says he'll be kind and help them warm up in this extreme cold. He throws the lighter into the gasoline. The flames quickly spread through the lobby, and he calmly leaves the scene. Smoke billowed up the floors through the building stairs. Everyone on the upper floors felt terror, screaming to open the windows, or they would suffocate with the smoke. However, many in their homes found that the extreme cold had frozen the windows. Without tools, they couldn't break them. The protagonist calmly exited Building 21, pointing to the building behind him, now emitting smoke, and said, "The rest of you handle it now. Don't let anyone anyone escape. As the flames grew, many couldn't bear the heat and chose to jump, landing in the snow below. Even if they didn't perish from burns, the fall shattered their spine. One woman had no pity for them as they crawled and caught fire. She simply buried her knife in them. Not even the men around her had such cold-bloodedness. The boyfriend, somewhat nervous, asked if she was okay. When the woman turned, she seemed like a sweet angel, saying that this was work. When anyone else fell and didn't die from the fall damage, she went there and helped the poor soul not suffer anymore. In a few minutes, the entire Building 21 was eliminated. Afterwards, Zhang Yi led his people to Building 26, led by Tianfang. The residents panicked upon seeing what happened to Building 21. When they arrived, the residents shouted that they were not supporting Tianfang and were innocent. Laughing, Zhang Yi said it didn't matter. They were all going to burn. A little while later, this building also met the same fate, and along with it, 5 other buildings were heated against the cold. His thought was that it was enough for one night. He told the residents of another building not to worry. He knew who the truly innocent ones were, and they would be fine. Some saw hope and were happy, but many others shouted that he must be tired after burning down 5 buildings. Ignoring the shouts, he gave the order that it was enough for today. After enduring the cold for so long, his people said they would stay outside and warm themselves by the fire. Even the fuel for the fire was from there. Then, he went to the bodies of the 2 who were most loyal to him. It didn't make sense for him to betray them, because they had always been treated well. Curious as to why he took their cell phones to investigate, looking at the conversations, he understood why. After dealing with the buildings involved in the rebellion, Zhang Yi returned home to see Uncle Yu. The steady rhythm of the heart rate monitor indicated that Uncle Yu was out of danger. He happily said that Jokir was indeed the best surgeon in the city. As they talked, Zalime approached, asking for something for her and her baby to eat. Looking disdainfully, he took out a packet of instant noodles from nowhere and threw it on the ground, saying he wouldn't let her starve, of course. But the woman didn't leave it at that and said that wasn't enough. In the kitchen, she saw there were eggs and chicken. At that moment, Zhang Yi almost exploded with anger. Even Jokir was shocked by the woman's audacity. In the apocalypse, complaining about free food, the protagonist, irritated, said it was just instant noodles or she wouldn't eat anything. After that, he left with his girlfriend. They returned to the room. The tired Zhang Yi began to massage her legs. It started there and soon moved to her lips, then back to her legs. Jokir recounted that Uncle Yu's recovery was unusual. During the surgery, his wounds began to heal rapidly. Hearing this, Zhang Yi had a sudden epiphany. He concluded that during the supernova explosion, a gamma ray wave passed through the earth and must have given powers to people under some condition. It could be that Uncle Yu had awakened some ability, like his dimensional storage ability. Accepting that was the case, he wondered why only he and now Uncle Yu were the only ones to awaken an ability. His idea was that the near-death state triggered it. He was dying at the hands of Fang Yuqing, and his power saved him, while Uncle Yu was dying from 3 shots, and his regeneration power saved him. Accepting that was the case, he told Jokir to keep his uncle sedated from now on. He could only wake up at the right time. Zhang Yi went to the living room, and there was Shilime looking for something to eat. He threw it in her face that he stored everything, so there's no use looking for anything. He also ordered her to go take care of Uncle Yu all the time and do whatever is necessary. Soon the woman obeyed and went to her husband's room. The next step was to go after another traitor, so he went up to the top floor of the building with a police shield in hand, shot the lock on the door, and kicked it open. Fang Yuqing ran towards him with a knife and hit the shield, losing the knife upon impact and falling backward. Zhang Yi remarked that it had been a long time since he'd seen the girl. Looking at her best friend on the table, he said he understood how someone as incompetent as her managed to stay alive. Lost in anger, madness, and other stupid feelings, she screamed. Why couldn't anyone kill him? It was Zhang Yi's fault. If he had been a loser like he always was, she would have accepted being with him. Zhang Yi didn't want to talk. He immediately hit her leg with a bat, breaking the bone. Then dragging her by the hair, he said he should have done it a long time ago. The cynical girl yelled that no. Fang Yuqing regretted it, not her older brother Zhang Yi. The protagonist let her go from the top floor and watched her fall heavily into the snow, contentedly watching the young and innocent Fang Yuqing lying in the snow. The next morning, at his house, Zhang Yi went to check on Uncle Yu in the room. Unexpectedly, his recovery speed was several times faster than that of an ordinary person. In just one day, his bullet wound had healed. Zhang Yi asked Jokir to monitor his condition until he fully recovered to be sure. She then administered a sedative injection to Uncle Yu, as usual. At that moment, Shilime approached and asked Zhang Yi to go to her house to get her phone charger and the baby's diapers. He looked at Uncle Yu and remembered that people in a coma are said to hear everything said around them, so he was kind to the woman and said he would do it after he finished something urgent. Leaving the room, Zhang Yi said it was time to eliminate the opportunists. He went outside to set more buildings on fire while saying to himself that this was to eliminate potential threats. Zhu Hao, who had been beaten up before, realizing Zhang Yi was approaching, came forward and said he had valuable information for his older brother. Zhang Yi smiled, thinking he already had practically everything he needed. What else could be important? Big brother Zhang Yi, have you heard of Wang Simon, the richest man in the city? He built an underground shelter called the Doomsday with $200 million. Because Zhang Yi showed interest, Zhu Hao asked to talk in a place where no one could hear. They went to an apartment, and then Zhu Hao spilled the beans. He said that Wang Simon's shelter is in a luxury-gated community. Zhang Yi then asked, so what? What's your reason for telling me this? Zhu Hao replied, the point is, there are infinite food supplies there. He wants to be Zhang Yi's helper to rob Wang Simon's underground underground shelter. The protagonist found this idea ridiculous. No matter what's inside, invading such a secure place isn't worth the risk for him. However, Xu Hao argues that Wang Ximen already knows about Zhang Yi and even contacted him to steal his snowmobile. This information only made Zhang Yi angry. He asked Xu Hao how he wanted to die. Frightened, the guy shouted that he wouldn't plot anything against Zhang Yi and actually wanted to help him. To make things even clearer, the protagonist shot Xu Hao next to his head and asked for a good reason to let him live. The guy said that the mansion has plenty of food and he wants to join Zhang Yi to ensure food for himself too. Furthermore, Xu Hao was friends with Wang Ximen, the spoiled rich kid who had everything one could want and still humiliated Xu Hao in front of girls. He mainly wants to get revenge on Wang Ximen. Zhang Yi is very interested in vengeance, so he gives him a chance. The protagonist asks if he knows about the security of the place, how many enemies there are, and similar things. Tell me now. Fearful, Xu Hao says he will only give the details if they make a deal first. The protagonist smiles and says he'd prefer to crack his head open. Xu Hao argues that he knows Zhang Yi has eliminated everyone who's no longer useful to him, so he won't say anything even under threat, since the outcome is the same. After these words, Zhang Yi says Xu Hao is smart, so he will accept to negotiate. The guy is happy, but Zhang Yi says there are two conditions first. He needs him to help eliminate someone who has been bothering him every day. He takes Xu Hao to an apartment and tells him there's a secret to share with him. The cunning protagonist takes out a briefcase and leaves the guy scared and confused about what it is, but he admits that joining Zhang Yi will at least ensure his survival, so any risk is worth it. The protagonist takes out a syringe and says he was a professional assassin, and that's how he survived until now. He says it's an assurance. This poison is very common and takes effect in a week. After they take over Wang Ximen's shelter, he will give him an antidote. Zhang Yi applies everything and says they will eliminate someone today. Xu Hao should wait at this person's house right away. When alone, Zhang Yi reveals that it was just saline solution. It was a strategy to reduce the chances of being betrayed. Returning home, he saw Sheila Mei with his uncle Yu. He went to the room to tell his uncle that he's happy, he's okay, and from now on, he will take care of the three of them as a family, and they will all live together here. It's a promise. Hearing this, Sheila Mei is very happy and says a promise is a promise. She hands over her baby and says she will bring her and the baby's things from home. Sheila Mei thinks that with the baby and Uncle Yu here, Zhang Yi wouldn't be able to lock her out and kick her out of here. With her baby and phone in hand, Zhang Yi notifies that she left and Xu Hao should handle the problem. While the scoundrel plays with the baby, the mother went to open the door of her house, thinking she would never return here. Her surprise was that someone was inside the house. So frightened, the girl couldn't even try to defend herself. She was hit and then received several more attacks. Satisfied, Xu Hao sent a message saying the trash was taken out. She really won't be going back to her place anymore, nor to Zhang Yi's house. At home, Zhang Yi tells his Uncle Yu that now he and his wife Sheila Mei will also live here, and it will be great. However, Uncle Yu, unlike his wife, says that this is too much. He shouldn't bother Zhang Yi that much. The baby starts crying, and not knowing how to fix it, Zhang Yi hands it over to Chokir. You need to change the diapers. Figure it out, woman. Returning to the room, he went to talk to Uncle Yu again. The uncle says that she's taking too long, and he's worried. Zhang Yi tells Chokir that he'll go look for Sheila Mei because she's taking too long. Zhang Yi went to his room to gear up, sent a message to his building group asking all neighbors to gather at apartment 1301. He will distribute rewards and food for everyone. He sends a voice message privately to Xu Hao, telling him not to come if he wants to stay alive. After a while, everyone was happy. All the other buildings were eliminated, and now they can follow Zhang Yi and secure their food. Outside the apartment, the protagonist hears that everyone is there. He doesn't enter, throws 2 grenades inside, and closes the door. Everyone was happy, and out of nowhere, 2 grenades appear. There wasn't even time to blink, and everything went up in flames. The door was completely destroyed. Zhang Yi, hoping he had protected himself with the shield, entered the room to check the chaos. Everything was in pieces. One of them who survived, angry, asks why. They all helped him so much. Why kill them? Without mercy, Zhang Yi says that he helped everyone survive, and now they owe their lives to him. He's just taking what's his. After erasing all the residents of his building, the protagonist says that now he has killed all his enemies from his past life, except for Chen Zhang, because of Chokir. Back home, he goes to talk to Uncle Yu and says that there's trouble. Their neighbors rebelled and eliminated Xie Mei. They were planning with leaders from other buildings to eliminate us. Zhang Yi says he took care of them, but some escaped. The uncle, crying, says it's his fault. Frustrated, he punches the bed and makes Zhang Yi think that his power, apart from healing, is super strength. He tells him to calm down. Zhang Yi says he's also to blame for this. This world is very cruel, but he'll get a new woman for him, and she'll be very attractive. Don't worry. This leaves the old man all shy. One last problem for Zhang Yi is the baby. Chokir says he won't stop crying, and nothing works now. With his eyes, he asks if she has used that. She feels embarrassed, saying that's enough. These are only for Zhang Yi's use. The protagonist says he will get someone who can breastfeed the baby. We didn't see if he talked to Uncle Yu about it, because in the next scene, Zhang Yi was going with the baby to Li Jian's building. Maybe this was the only one the protagonist didn't burn. He called for their leader, Li Jian, and told him he needed him. Zhang Yi asks if he's not afraid. Li Jian says he is, but it's also useless to run away from him. Moreover, coming like this with a baby in his arms doesn't seem like he was here to kill them. He asked them to find a mother to take care of this baby. There's food here for a while, for whoever takes the child. Zhang Yi says he won't do anything against him and his building because he truly knows they won't try anything against him. Li Jian, not very grateful, says he will will take care of the child. He even runs to a woman, hands over the child and the food, and tells her to take it because everything here is truly shared. Observing how many people are alive in his building, Zhang Yi asks how they will survive when their food runs out. Li Jian says that when there's no food, they will die with dignity. The protagonist says that the food problem can be solved with the things he burned before. Li Jian firmly says no, and despite everything Zhang Yi did to corrupt Li Jian, he never faltered once, so Zhang Yi says he admires him a lot, and Li Jian also says he admires how Zhang Yi has the power to keep those close to him alive. Thinking for a moment, Li Jian wanted to ask a favor of the protagonist, but Zhang Yi stops him and says no. However, he continues and says that the protagonist used to deliver food to all the buildings before, so now that there's only one building left, why not help them? Zhang Yi just refuses and leaves, but after thinking for a moment, he changes his mind a little. He says that if he helps his people for a while, everything will go wrong and they'll end up like the other buildings too. Instead, he gives them all the seeds he had. If they manage to plant them somehow, they will be able to rely on themselves and not on others. These seeds are the last thing they received from him. For the first time since the snow apocalypse began, Zhang Yi helps someone without any ulterior motives. Li Jian asks one of his residents if it's possible to cultivate it, and an elderly biology teacher says it's not impossible. Maybe there's a small chance of success. Meanwhile, in his luxury home, Zhang Yi mentions that the neighbor's issue has been completely resolved, and now the goal is to get their hands on a new fortress. After a while, Zhou Qier returns home and asks if he's finished his work. Yes. Taking off her coat, she asks what he wants to eat. Zhou Qier, all innocent, starts preparing in the kitchen, and the mischievous protagonist holds her back and says she should guess what he wants to eat. She feels awkward, mentioning that her uncle is in the next room, but Zhang Yi says the house has soundproofing and thermal insulation. The next day, Zhou Qier, very tired from all the effort, continued sleeping. Zhang Yi sends a message to Xu Hao, "Come to my house now." It didn't take long for him to arrive. The same person who not long ago was being kicked by others on Zhang Yi's orders was now in his warm house. Out of respect, he sits on the floor and not on the sofa, waiting for the boss. Zhang Yi wants to know about the dealings with Wang Ximeng. Before Xu Hao can speak, the protagonist tells him to shut up and give him his phone. Xu Hao freezes in fear. Why on earth does he want to see his phone? Zhang Yi insists, saying to hurry. He's going to read his conversations with Wang Ximeng. Xu Hao says it's better not to. Suspiciously, Zhang Yi grabs him by the collar, asking if he's hiding something. After some threats, the guy hands over his phone to the protagonist. Xu Hao says he cursed Zhang Yi a lot in there, but that's part of the act, so don't take it to heart. He sees that Xu Hao has passed all his information to Wang Ximeng, and they discuss joining forces and taking things from Zhang Yi, but Xu Hao swears that all of this is part of gaining the rich guy's trust. Thinking more deeply about it, Zhang Yi realizes that Wang Ximeng knows about his weapons, his snowmobile, and bunker in the apartment. He decides to use this to his advantage. The protagonist tells Xu Hao to tell everything he knows to Wang Ximon's house. If he misses a detail, he dies. After telling everything about his underground bunker, made with rocket materials, with a system of sleep-inducing gases and flamethrowers at the entrance. Basically, the place is an impenetrable hell. The only way in is if those inside let you, so Zhang Yi's focus turns to figuring out how to neutralize the gas and flamethrower system. The plan Xu Hao proposes is for him to pretend to capture Zhang Yi and make Wang Ximeng let him in. This plan doesn't smell too good to the protagonist, but it seems to be the only choice. About this, he has an idea. If he can use his dimensional space ability in other ways. Zhang Yi, acting all weird, thinks about the possibilities. Then he tells Xu Hao to leave, get out of here, and in 2 or 3 days, I'll call you. But master, what about the antidote? I'll die without it, Xu Hao says. Zhang Yi says it's no problem because it takes 7 days for the poison to take effect. He has time. Zhang Yi slams the door in Xu Hao's face. Now he has to figure out what else he can cheat in reality with this power. So he sits back down, thinks about it a lot. Suddenly, he makes a fire inside the house and starts trying to absorb the fire with his ability. If it's like the food that's preserved, it'll be incredible. He absorbs all the fire and doesn't get burned in the process. Then he manages to shoot out the same fire, like a cannon. The guy is so overpowering, and it makes him very happy. If this worked, what else could be possible? Thinking about this, he wonders if he could suck someone into the dimensional theft hole. With that in mind, Zhang Yi managed to get one of the residents of Li Jian's building as a guinea pig. He threw a wooden stick in front of the guy and said if he can hit it, he'll get a bread as a reward. Of course, the man was suspicious as to why the almighty Zhang Yi would ask someone to beat him with a stick. Is this guy a masochist? Motivated by the prospect of food, the man jumped in to hit the stick with all his might. As Zhang Yi thought, he managed to suck the guy into the dimensional storage space, and it happened very slowly. After entering up to the last leg, Zhang Yi checked inside the space he controlled. The man was in there, frozen like everything else in there, unable to move and didn't seem to be alive. Checking his body, he realized there was no pulse or breathing. Thinking about it, it makes sense that food doesn't spoil and stays the same as when it entered. Everything in here is frozen in time. Taking the guy out, and to Zhang Yi's surprise, he was alive. He kicked the wood to the side and went to ask the guy how he felt seconds ago. Terrified, he replied that he thought he was dead. He was in a white world with supplies all around. This information blows Zhang Yi's mind, but of course, he tells the man that it was some delusion of his. But in the head of our crazy protagonist, he just discovered that time passes differently inside his dimension. dimension and that living beings don't die immediately there, but if they stay too long inside, they can have a mental breakdown and die from it. What wasn't clear to me is if he meant that besides the psychological being affected, living things cannot be sucked as easily as lifeless things. Because he removes some pieces of the man for the simple purpose of testing this, he sends the fingers easily and it works. They can stay in the other dimension. Tell me, you smarter ones, how do you think Zhang Yi's power works in the comments? After destroying the guy, he gives him something to treat his fingers. See how nice he is. After thinking for a while, the man is all happy down there, fingerless, insane, but at least eating well. The conclusions were that he can throw objects out of the space. Now people can't be sucked or thrown out. I, with my few neurons, think this guy only entered the dimension because he jumped towards the portal. Now things like fire, he can suck in and project out in whichever direction he wants. With this information, he already knows he can defeat Wang Ximen. He goes to his great guinea pig friend and thanks him for the help. The poor guy didn't complain about anything and thanks for being able to exchange 2 fingers for food and says he has 8 more. Zhang Yi suddenly lands a blow to his jugular and the man falls backward without understanding what happened. Evil Zhang Yi says that he's no longer useful and since he's already had his reward meal, it's time to leave. Strangely, the miserable man, with his vision darkening, is happy to finally be able to escape from this cruel world. Back home, Zhang Yi says he'll find more people from Lin Jian's building to practice real combat simulation for another 3 days. So, 3 days of wickedness later, Zhang Yi called Su Hao for a chat. But first, Su Hao was begging for the antidote. His poison was taking effect faster. He could feel it. Zhang Yi notices that Zhu Hao is eating well now, but the poor guy's appearance is worsening, all due to a fake injection. That's the power of psychology. The protagonist then says he'll give a temporary antidote that relieves symptoms for some time. Hurry up, please. I can't take it anymore. I'm dying. He applies it and says it'll only last until the operation to invade Wang Ximen's underground bunker. After applying it, Xu Hao thanks the master and says the plan can start. He calls Wang Ximen to set up a meeting. Something tells me Zhang Yi will do something. Later he packed his things and told Zhou Qier he's going on a mission. What's strange to her is that all the neighborhood's problems have been solved. So why? At the right time, he says he'll tell his girlfriend. For now, she should stay in the building. He left food for almost a month for her and Uncle Yu. Worried, our lovely Zhou Qier tries to stop him from leaving. It's always dangerous outside. Her man then says he's the danger out there. He gives her a sweet kiss and says everything will be fine. If that's the case, she calms down. Our Zhou Qier is a bit naughty, guys. The mission now is to go to the bunker, but unlike what we expected, Xu Hao is tied up behind. The protagonist explains that they have to keep up appearances. The two walk into the city. After a while, they reach the condominium area, which was the city's richest region. Zhang Yi says since it's the highest place in the city, not even the houses were covered by snow. I didn't quite understand how it works, but the topography of the place makes it snowless. From the entrance of the condominium onward, they go on foot. They won't take the snowmobile to Wang Ximen's house. A woman in one of the houses noticed the duo's arrival on a snowmobile. Looking at her empty house without food, she thinks this must be her hope. When they arrived in front of Wang Ximen's mansion, it was already dark. In front of the house, Zhang Yi tells Xu Hao to go call the rich boy. Scared of taking a bullet, he goes to the camera to say, "Incredible, legendary, rich and handsome Wang Ximen. It's me. I came for the meeting to negotiate the snowmobile." On the other side, the rich kid doesn't understand why they're here today and not tomorrow, which was the agreed upon day. Furthermore, the snowmobile isn't with them. But anyway, Xu Hao says to brother Wang Ximen, "Please let us in. This is a unique opportunity to get what you want." Wang Ximen makes it clear that if they try anything, they'll be eliminated. Entering the mansion, Zhang Yi realizes that the apartment doesn't even compare to this. Xu Hao goes ahead, afraid of getting a headshot. He says that after that door is indeed his house. They keep walking. The millionaire Wang Ximen presses a little button on the computer, and then in the security corridor, defense mechanisms are activated, and gases are injected inside. In the rich kid's cameras, the smoke filled everything, and the screams he heard from the two were of desperation. Upon realizing that everything fell silent, he says it's time to treat the guests very well. What you can't perceive is that within the smoke curtain, Zhang Yi was wearing a gas mask and sucking all the smoke into the dimensional theft space. After a few minutes, the door opens. The plan is to shoot him when he approaches. But to Zhang Yi's surprise, the rich boy didn't come, so he pretended to be unconscious and angry with Xu Hao, who said that only Wang Ximen and the beautiful girls lived here. The heavily armed guy knocked on the protagonist to make sure he was knocked out and threw him on the bunk. At that moment, Zhang Yi realized that this person is a famous TV actor and must be Wang Ximen's friend. Inside, he threw the two of them on the ground like garbage bags. He tied them up while remarking that the security system was truly incredible. The rich guy remarked that it was obvious, as the bunker cost $1 billion to make. Leaving the two behind, they discussed how Zhang Yi had hidden the snowmobile nearby, so he would go look for it. While the two talked, Zhang Yi released the gas he absorbed in the perfect direction toward the guys. "Hey brother Lin, why are you falling?" "I'm not, but why are you shrinking?" As the men fell to the ground, Zhang Yi had already freed himself. Xu Hao and the two wealthy men were unconscious from the gas, and he was now free. The first thing he did was tie up the two and take their weapons. The guys used gold-plated desert eagles. Zhang Yi applied the law of communism and took them for himself. All the places were fancy and large. Walking through the rooms, one of them had an indoor plantation, now clearly belonging to Zhang Yi. Going upstairs, he found game rooms, in one of which were the beautiful girls Xu Hao had mentioned, but it was strange that they were all unconscious. suspicious. In another room labeled dogs and cats, there were the sights they were seeing and tied up cosplayers, clothes strewn on the floor. One of them was awake and crying, begging for forgiveness from Mr. Wang Simon, saying they were wrong. Holding onto her legs, she said they just wanted to go out for a bit and could do anything he wanted if he let them. Without heart or empathy, Zhang Yi kicked the girl and said that now he had an idea of what was happening here with the others. A few shots, and the place fell silent. Now in the surveillance room, Zhang Yi said the heart of this madhouse must be here. All the cameras and environments were controlled from here. After walking through the other 200,000 rooms, many of which only opened with a password, he gave up and went back to wake the two rich men up with water in their faces. "Are you awake?" Not understanding how this happened, the rich guy freaks out. Zhang Yi then makes it clear that a magician doesn't reveal his tricks, and now has something more important to discuss. He asks if Wang Simon wants to cooperate with him or not. The answer is yes, as long as he doesn't hurt him. Zhang Yi's condition is to live here with Simon, which shouldn't be a problem in such a big house. Surprised, Wang Simon asks if the protagonist only wanted to live here with them, not kill everyone and take over the place and its girls. He says no, that here is too big to live alone. It would be lonely. Wang, all happy, says that if he wants to be friends, he can. Zhang Yi says that the snow won't last forever, and when it's gone, a poor and unimportant person like him being friends with someone as rich as Wang Simon is the best thing to do. Simon agrees, but internally, he thinks about how Zhang Yi is too afraid to kill him. To release the rich guy, Zhang Yi's condition is for him to teach him how to operate the house's security system, to give him the passwords and everything else. As he has no choice, Simon tells him to promise not to hurt him after he does that. Zhang Yi promises that after that, he will let him go. "I don't kill innocents." With no choice, Wang Simon agrees. In the control room, the rich guy teaches Zhang Yi everything, including the passwords and the instruction manual. With all this, Zhang Yi is sure he can control the entire house. If that's the case, brother Zhang Yi can release Simon. He smiles maliciously and agrees. Zhang Yi takes out a knife and cuts Wang Simon's vocal cords. He calmly tells him to breathe slowly, assuring him that the pain will soon fade away. He truly soothes the man, allowing him to peacefully transition to the other world. Simon, now voiceless, wonders why he's saying all this to someone he just deceived. Zhang Yi, as if reading minds, remarks that there's no point in keeping a worthless piece of crap alive. Perhaps it's because of the girls he saw inside. Yeah, that must be it, folks. After disposing of the two, Zhang Yi cleans up the mess that leaked out from Wang Simon and his friend. His dilemma is what to do with Xu Hao, who helped a lot, and everything went smoothly because of him. While contemplating, young Xu Hao opens his eyes and catches sight of the scene the protagonist wanted to hide, him cleaning up the aftermath. However, upon being released, Xu Hao is simply happy. So that miserable Wang Simon went to hell, well deserved for all he did. Zhang Yi points to a backpack full of food, saying it's his reward for a job well done. Upon hearing the word food, the man rushes over to see and starts eating right there. The issue is that Zhang Yi mentions the house's power won't last long with the generators here, and the food is running out, so that's all the reward he can offer for taking over the bunker. Xu Hao, upon hearing this, refuses to accept and questions if he heard correctly. The protagonist confirms it, explaining that Wang Simon lived here with many other people, and they consumed everything in the house, probably because of all the women. I think it's true. However, Xu Hao doesn't believe it, accusing Zhang Yi of hiding the good stuff from him and not sharing properly. Angry at the situation, he kicks the food backpack and says he won't accept it. He provided the information about this place and took risks for such a meager reward. Xu Hao claims Zhang Yi is lying. He advances towards the protagonist with hatred, saying that if that's the case, it's better for Zhang Yi to kill him, or Xu Hao will spill everything about Zhang Yi to the others, the supplies and powers he possesses. If not Xu Hao himself, someone stronger will come to defeat him. In anger, Zhang Yi shoots Xu Hao in the chest. He falls to the ground, unable to react because he's stupid. Zhang Yi simply says that anger doesn't make you stronger, only weaker. If you don't have power, you shouldn't confront those who are stronger. Taking back the backpack, Zhang Yi says he was going to let young Xu Hao live, and even gave him the food there, so why did he seek his own death? Later, the protagonist ponders things in the living room, 1,000 thoughts running through the scoundrel's mind. If Jokir were here with him, it would be great. But what about Uncle Yu? Maybe he'll let Uncle stay in the apartment, and he'll move here with Jokir. Now walking through the bar, he says there's only one thing missing. He promised to find a delicious girl for Uncle Yu. How is he going to do that? He can't know that now. He decides to have a drink and see if the TV works. Incredibly, there's cable TV with channels from all over the world. Investigating how this is possible, he finds a network room. The mansion has its own internet server, so he can communicate with the internet via Elon Musk's satellite. Zhang Yi can have information from all over the world with this connection. Searching the computers, he finds many things. The main information is about reports from other countries regarding individuals who gained special abilities. While some control fire, others turn green. However, most became deformed or gained useless characteristics. Anyway, Zhang Yi's conclusion is that if there are people with powers out there, it's another reason for him to stay here in this protected bunker. His main goal now is to immediately go get his woman and move her to this place. As he's about to start his snowmobile, a sweet voice calls out to him. His natural reaction is to pull out his gun and aim. The person in question is the redhead he saw earlier when Zhang Yi arrived. The woman says she has a favor to ask. Immediately, the protagonist recognizes her. Is she Yang Mi, the hottest girl in China in recent years? Every man in the country wants her. It's truly amazing, guys. The girl says she hasn't eaten properly for days and asks if she can go with him. He responds that life is indeed difficult nowadays, even for the rich. But if she wants to go with him, she must give a good reason. The girl asserts that if she receives food, she's willing to accept any condition he wants, making it clear with a mouth gesture indicating it's really anything. At that moment, Zhang Yi blushes, then starts drooling. The scoundrel's heart is hooked. He regains his composure and tells her to come with him. The two head to the bunker, and at the door, she asks if this isn't Wang Simon's mansion. Zhang Yi says no, this place belongs to him now. Inside, it's warm, so she takes off her coat. She thanks him for letting her in and asks about his relationship with Wang Simon. Without answering, Zhang Yi asks about her relationship with Wang Simon. Do the rich know all the other rich people around? She explains that since their families are very wealthy, they bump into each other at all the fancy places and events. That's all. If that's the case, Zhang Yi says she shouldn't worry about Wang Simon. He's moved out. They have tea to warm their bodies, and then she asks if she can take a shower before they talk more. By all means, she undresses and goes to the shower. Guys, control yourselves. Inside, she thinks the guy is quite charming. If it's to ensure her survival, she can make sacrifices. The girl's plan is to ask to stay with him for a while, just until the extreme cold is over. Imagining what she'll have to give in return, she blushes and tries to convince herself that it's for her own good. It's just a favor exchange. She needs someone to protect her. Coming out of the bathroom, she puts on a towel and goes to him in the living room. The girl asks, straight away, "Can I live here with you?" It's hard for a weak woman to survive alone in such a harsh world. She uses her strongest weapon and says that if it's only for a short time, then nobody will know about their relationship. Zhang Yi takes her hand and goes to get more wine for them. He asks if she really thinks the ice will melt and the world will return to normal. She says it has to. If that's the case, he says, it's okay, but the woman has some conditions. Zhang Yi can't spread the news that she was with him after the global freeze ends, as she's famous and her career would be jeopardized. He agrees. Now Zhang Yi's first rule is for her to obey all his orders. To start, the first order is to burn calories with very pleasurable couple exercises. They must spend a lot of energy together. After many deep movements, Zhang Yi shows her his power by producing a new outfit for her to wear. The girl is surprised and asks if he's a powerful magician. If so, she wants to discuss more things with him right away. She's still in a towel to not lose her natural power, so Zhang Yi, to demonstrate his power better, conjures up a complete meal table with pizza and roast chicken. If she's obedient, the beautiful girl can have this level of comfort. All she needs to do is obey his desires. The woman drools over the food. Zhang Yi tells her to be smart, just accept it already. She's thinking why, as a famous actress, she can't be discovered sleeping with just anyone. She's still worried about her reputation and says she has more conditions. Their agreement is only valid until the freezing in the world ends. Everything they do here is a secret. Gazing at the beauty in front of him, Zhang Yi says she's beautiful. The girl's second condition, which she says with embarrassment and fidgeting, is that she can't be forced to do very perverted things. He has to accept that, and then they can have a colorful friendship. Zhang Yi comes close and says she came to him for help, so she can't ask for too much. Plus, if it's enjoyable for him, it will be for her too. He opens the gates for the girl while she's still hesitant, but in the end, she accepts everything. Zhang Yi informs that he'll go out to find someone else to come live here. But before that, he ponders and asks if many wealthy people still live in this condominium, and if she knows them. If everyone here had millions, they might have a better chance of surviving until now. What Zhang Yi really wants to know is if she knows a beautiful woman to introduce to someone. She says most of the wealthy here are older. Does his friend care about that? That's perfect. His friend is 40 years old. If that's the case, Yang Mi says she knows Zhou Haimei, once considered a goddess by many. Zhang Yi tells her to call the woman right away. She calls the goddess and explains the situation for her to come. After a few minutes, the legendary Zhou Haimei was here. Zhang Yi displays his power to conjure food from beyond and hands it to her. It was because of this that the woman came. He then quickly asks if things are clear to her too. We are making a deal here of food in exchange for food for his friend. They are going out now. Zhang Yi warns that if information about this place leaks out, both of them will die. Meanwhile, next to the territory of the luxury condominiums, in a province called Chu, some people are prepared to walk in the cold, and with some equipment they will dig in the snow. These people can withstand the cold and break the ice in the right places and fish. While they were fishing, they noticed something coming from afar. Upon closer inspection, it was a vehicle that could move on snow and a beautiful woman. With the noise of the bike, the fishermen's wolves went after dragging the sleds. One of them clearly showed his intention by trying to hit Zhang Yi with a trident. To dodge it, Zhou Haimei fell from the snowmobile. Worried about Uncle Zhang Yi's woman, he stood in front of her and pointed at them. Are you aware that I'm armed? The confident lunatics ask how many bullets he has. Can he take them all down? In exchange for this snowmobile, they'll take the risk. Incredibly, Zhang Yi tries tried to argue that he doesn't need to kill everyone here, but if they did something, it would happen. One of the men says that if he leaves the snowmobile and the woman he can leave alive. Zhou Haimei behind thought this was a real possibility and got scared. However, firmly Zhang Yi asked if they were crazy. The man insisted that they couldn't let the chance of having food slip away to search for food. In this case, Zhang Yi had no choice. He grabbed his desert eagle and shot them all. The idiot was the first to take a shot to the forehead, with the noise attracting the dogs, so Zhang Yi, using his storage skill, sucked the wolves into the dimensional space. Girl Zhou Haimei climbed back onto the snowmobile, and they continued to flee. People returned, but all they found were their brothers' bodies in the snow. They also noticed that the dogs were gone. The men looked around and couldn't see where the dogs were. This outsider killed their people and stole their dogs. This couldn't end like this. They would have to seek revenge. Carrying the bodies, they returned to their village. In their village there's a castle, and inside there's an otaku hugging a dakimakura pillow. Are you guys like that too? There's no point in lying, I know. The villagers defeated by Zhang Yi returned and went to talk to the otaku in his room. They were disgusted with everything here, asking if he wouldn't prefer a real woman who isn't 2D. The boy is lost in this world, so they need to pull his blanket to wake him up. The situation is so serious that he doesn't even realize there are people in his room watching him date. Wait outside, I'm dating. Sometime later, he left his wife and went to talk to the men. They tell him about a man who has a snowmobile and a beautiful 3D woman. They need that snowmobile and also need to avenge their brother's deaths. The reason they came to the chubby guy is that this outsider may have powers just like the otaku. They want him to help capture Zhang Yi and get the snowmobile for them. The otaku, who seems very important, says that God gave him this power, so he must have sent this person with powers to make him even stronger. Chun will accept the challenge and hunt down this person. The elders affirm that their tribe cannot be intimidated, and what the otaku is doing is noble. They rely on young Chun. Sometime later, Zhang Yi and Zhou Haimei arrive at the building where their safe house is located. The woman seems sad about the situation. The reason for her sadness is that, in the current situation, she has no other choice. To survive, she must accept being someone else's woman, whom she doesn't even know. When they arrive, Jokir will receive her unfaithful boyfriend. He has been working for so many days away, so he must be tired. Upon realizing the presence of another maiden, Jokir, embarrassed, says she didn't know Zhang Yi liked older women. The protagonist tells the guest to sit down, and leaving the room, he tells Jokir that this person is not for him. She came to meet Uncle Yu, but Zhang Yi asserts that there's nothing wrong with older women. Leaving that aside, how is Uncle Yu? He healed in a week. A normal person would take 3 months to heal. The old man is as good as new. The protagonist's orders were for Jokir always to apply sedatives to restrain his uncle, but now it's time for him to leave the cage. Zhang Yi's concern is that there are others out there with powers. Building a good relationship and keeping his Uncle Yu in good condition are his interests. Together, they are stronger. Inside the room, Uncle Yu was doing very well. He said he was very happy and grateful for everything his nephew did for him. Besides saving his life, he now looks handsome. Uncle Yu feels much stronger now. To demonstrate this, he puts his hand on the bed to try to break it. However, Zhang Yi, impressed, tells him to calm down. Uncle Yu shouldn't think he's a monster. In fact, he has just awakened. He gives an example that before he was a tadpole, but now he's a frog. To help, Zhang Yi reveals his power as well, making it clear to Uncle Yu how he always had so much food. Because of his excitement, Uncle slapped the bed and broke it, causing it to fall to the ground. Zhang Yi asks if he's okay. He says yes. He just needs to get used to his strength. The protagonist asks his uncle if he wanted a wife. He has something for him. Zhang Yi takes him to the living room and shows him his gift. Immediately, he recognizes, "Could you be Zhou Haimei?" She says yes and asks if he's Uncle Yu. Look at how excited the old man gets. Zhang Yi says that this house will be theirs and they can get to know each other and live here together. Zhang Yi will move elsewhere with Jokir. They prepare to leave. Zhang Yi tells Uncle Yu that this snowmobile will be his gift, to use it and get food now. His uncle is very honest, saying that this is too much. The snowmobile is important to Zhang Yi. However, the protagonist shows his new ride, a snow-going car. Now it's no secret to anyone that he has powers, and everyone is shocked by this. The two of them go by car to their new home. Along the way, Jokir asks if their new home is beautiful. He replies yes, it's very spacious and comfortable, nothing like their apartment. Along the way, Zhang Yi warns that there is another person at home. He's warning her in advance to be prepared. Jokir sulks because it's obvious it must be another woman. In this way, Zhang Yi reassures his wife, saying that it's just someone who will help with housework every day. Initially, she asks if it's only for this reason, and he says yes, she is the only one in his heart. After that, Jokir calms down and becomes happy. Zhang Yi is relieved because he doesn't need a disobedient woman. On the way, they face a heavy snowstorm until something stronger than the snow hits the car, a tornado. Realizing this, the tornado was pushing the car, so Zhang Yi uses his ability and sucks the entire snow tornado into another dimension. However, right after that, another different tornado threatens them. At this moment, Zhang Yi realizes that there must be another person with abilities like his uncle, so he turns around and flees. More snow tornadoes come their way, and just like before, he absorbs them with his storage power. The culprit behind this was the otaku. These attacks are very exhausting, so now he's at his limit. The others with him ask if he's okay. He says yes, but he needs to rest a bit. Now that they've confirmed the enemy's powers, they are worried. Zhang Yi stops the car and takes a rifle from his storage. He deduces that his opponent must tire out a lot with their attacks, so he must retaliate while they recover. Zhang Yi gets out out of his car and shoots at the snowbank. One of them is hit in the leg and shouts for help. Only 2 remain. The otaku still wonders how he can see them hidden, so Zhang Yi shoots several more times. Chun attacks with tornadoes, but his attacks are easily nullified. Despite giving his all, he is completely neutralized. How can he be so powerful? With this, Zhang Yi says they must have realized the difference in power. They are not reacting anymore. However, continuing this fight here could be dangerous for Zhokir. Zhang Yi shouts that if they have the courage, they should come after him, but now the fight will be on his turf. Zhang Yi returns to the car, and she calms down very quickly and asks if he has killed them all. He says no, so you'll come back for revenge later. She asks this because she already knows her boyfriend and knows he's like that. They continue on their way, leaving the defeated ones behind, but at least everyone is alive. In the bunker, his red-haired girl was lying down until now, waiting for him to return. This happened, and as soon as the protagonist arrived, he went to inform Yang Mi that she should come and meet his new friend. She asks if the friend is engaged to him or something. It's something like that. Zhang Yi hands her new clothes to wear and come downstairs now, and let's face it, she looks very good in that outfit. Determined to claim territory, Yang Mi dresses up and puts on makeup to meet her rival. As she descends the stairs, Zhang Yi is excited about it. Following behind is the beautiful redhead. When the 2 girls see each other, they are startled, and Zhou Qir approaches Yang Mi with fists clenched, hinting at a possible fight. Zhang Yi intervenes and asks if they already know each other. Zhou Qir confirms that she's her cousin. Surprised, Zhang Yi stands between them and asks if it's all getting a bit too serious. Yang Mi asks him not to let her cousin know about their relationship, but Zhang Yi questions if there is indeed a relationship. The shy girl wonders if their agreement isn't just a temporary arrangement. They are cousins, and their families are famous in the medical field. Zhou Qir doesn't like her cousin because, according to her, Yang Mi embarrasses the family name. People in their social circles mock them because Yang Mi chose to work in the entertainment industry. Zhou Qir complains that the worst part is her cousin's poor acting skills. Zhang Yi asks why that's a problem. It's because Yang Mi uses her looks to promote herself, and that vulgarity makes others mock their family. Zhang Yi intervenes again, stating that it's all in the past, and there's no longer such a social circle. From now on, they will have to live together peacefully. He decides to show them around the new house and their responsibilities there. When they see the cultivation room, they get excited about taking care of the plants, as these gardens are their responsibility. Yang Mi thanks the protagonist for keeping her secret. She suggests they can maintain their relationship, but keep it a secret. Zhang Yi nods in agreement, respecting her opinion. However, he wonders how he'll manage their 3-way relationship now. To express her gratitude, Yang Mi offers to cook for them and heads to the kitchen. Later, while searching for ingredients, she finds there's nothing in the pantry. As she searches, Zhang Yi sneakily approaches her and whispers in her ear, making her blush as she wonders what he's up to. What are you doing, and what if your fiancé finds out? He ignores her concerns and retrieves ingredients from his dimensional storage, telling her this is how they'll eat from now on. Even though she's aware of his powers, she's impressed, as are we by other things. He pats her bottom playfully and eagerly anticipates the meal. After a while, the food is ready and they can start eating. Apprehensive about whether they'll like it, Zhou Qir tastes it first and remarks that it's too salty. Embarrassed, Yang Mi admits she couldn't concentrate with everything going on. Sensing the tension between the cousins, Zhang Yi decides to take advantage. He starts being affectionate with Zhou Qir, feeding her, and she responds by being cute and happy, showing off to her cousin. Even though she pretends not to care, she keeps up the display throughout dinner. Later, as they lie in bed, Zhou Qir asks which of them is better. Zhang Yi pets her head and says, "Of course it's her." Zhou Qir is his personal doctor, so she's more important. Not to mention, she's the most beautiful. Zhang Yi kisses her forehead and hugs her as they drift off to sleep. In this cute moment, the protagonist reflects that love is nonsense. Everything is about interests. In the following days, Zhang Yi practices his archery skills daily. At one point, he receives a call on his cell phone. Without caring who it might be, he declines the call and blocks the